This third exercise is going to be the pullover. And with the pullover, not only will you unlock serious core strength from this exercise, but pulling strength as well. And learn fundamental exercises along the way, like hanging L-sit, toes to bar, inverted row pull-ups, upside down deadlifts, and negative muscle-ups, which will further develop and widen your arsenal of skills. These are exercises that will also branch out into different skill sets, as they are also required progressions for other skills like front lever, L-sit pull-ups, muscle-ups, and hopefully you can now visualize this is all a giant skill tree, and why selecting specific exercises from the beginning of your calisthenics journey can actually give you a strategical advantage. Now the pullover is going to need some requirements. 8 clean consecutive pull-ups, a 45-second hang on the bar, 10 consecutive straight bar dips, and 10 consecutive hanging leg raises with perfect form. And these are fundamentals to calisthenics which you should have already mastered. If you're still struggling to unlock your first pull-up, definitely check out my videos on how to start calisthenics first to master the basics and create a solid foundation before even trying to learn skills. Yes, you can start training skills anyway, but it will take you way longer to progress, as you will be struggling just to perform the exercises versus focusing on your form and technique. The first progression to start learning the pullover is going to be L-sit kicks, and if you are able to complete the requirements, this is going to be really easy. Hanging L-sit kicks are great to start off because they're very beginner friendly, but they'll also have you unlock your hanging L-sit hold very quickly, while developing the required grip and core strength for all the progressions to come. Now, as you're doing your hanging L-sit kicks, you may start doing them pretty quickly, but you know how it goes. Eventually, you'll be able to do it slower and controlled until you're able to kick out and even hold that L-sit for a second or two and then bring your legs back in. And if you can hold a hanging L-sit for the last rep, even better. If you find yourself swinging, you need to grip the bar even tighter and possibly lean back a little bit. Also, bring your knees very high and tight to your chest when you bring them in, and point your toes as you push your legs straight out to a locked out L-sit position. And make sure that your feet are constantly tight together and pointing your toes the entire duration, even as you're extending your legs out to your L-sit. Once you can do about 8 to 10 very comfortably, you're ready to move on. All right, now you're strong enough for progression number 2. We're gonna be going for high hanging knee raises. Bring them all the way up. Curl back as far as you can. Point your toes. From here, lean back. As high as you can, lean back. Hanging high knee raises shouldn't be that difficult, especially if you got used to the hanging L-sit kicks. You definitely have the core and grip strength required to be able to do this move. Remember, make sure that your feet are tight together and you're constantly pointing your toes. You want to do this with every single progression. This is also going to help you engage your core even more and reduce swinging. And try to go to a complete range of motion. Bring your knees as high as you can and tight to your chest as you lean back. If you can lean back enough to get into a horizontal position, even better. But as you start to come back down, make sure you control this movement as well and keep a solid tight grip in your hands to reduce momentum and swing. Once you can do about 8 to 10 comfortably with perfect form, you're ready to move on. All right, progression number 3, high knee raise pull-up. Now that we're adding a pull-up into these high knee raises, this is gonna get us closer to the end result, doing a pullover and pulling our body completely over the bar. But the best way to achieve a big goal is with small steps. So for now, we're just gonna go for a pull-up at the end of our high knee raise. Doing a pull-up from this tuck position is a lot easier than doing it with our legs extended, which we'll eventually need to do when finally doing a pullover. But first, we need to master these with our knees tucked. Now, when trying it for the first time, you can go for partial high knee raise pull-ups. Just pull up to as comfortable as you can get to be able to come back down. And eventually, you'll be able to pull up and hit your knees. And once that gets comfortable, you can open up your knees a bit more. And the next time you go for a high knee raise pull-up, your knees won't obstruct the pull-up bar and you'll be able to pull up past your knees and give a deeper range of motion, pulling all the way up to your navel. And it's actually a requirement to be able to pull up this high to complete a pullover. So really focus on pulling as high as you can, getting up to your belly button. Once you can do 4 to 6 with perfect form, you're ready to move on. All right, progression number 4. This one should be easy for you. Toes to bar. Keep your legs straight, point your toes, your feet tied together. Control, lean back. Once you get past that leg raise position, lean back. After training all the previous progressions, you definitely have the core strength to be able to perform a couple toes to bars. Just make sure that your feet are constantly tied together with rope and constantly pointing your toes. With a solid and tight grip on the bar, you can start off this exercise going up as if you were to go into a leg raise. Once your legs go as high as your flexibility allows them to, then you want to lean back like you did in the hanging high knee raises until your ankles or your toes can touch the bar. You'll also notice as you lean back, you're going to activate more of your scapulas, your lats, and your core. You want to get very comfortable with this position with your toes touching the bar. You're going to be reaching this position and going through the same movement path as a toes to bar when you're finally doing an actual pullover. So basically with these progressions, we're breaking down the different components and movement paths of the pullover into smaller bite-sized pieces we can master separately. And once we've mastered them all, we put them all together and the pullover will be effortless. Once you can do 10 perfect toes to bars comfortably in a row, you're ready to move on. Progression number 5, high leg raise pull-up. We're basically doing half of the pullover already. The movement path that we're using to complete this high leg raise pull-up is the same exact movement path that you're gonna use at the beginning of an actual pullover. That's why this progression is so important for you to master. And if you're comfortable with the previous progressions, then you would have already had the technique and form to perform this exercise. It's the upgraded version of a high knee raise pull-up, except this time with your legs straight, so you're gonna get into it like as if you were doing a toes to bar. Once your toes reach the bar, you're gonna lean back and try to raise your hips while maintaining contact with your legs in the bar. And then you're gonna pull up as high as you can. Again, if you're doing this for the first time, just start off with partials, just pulling up as high as you're comfortable with, enough to be able to perform the exercise to come back down. You'll eventually get stronger and you'll be able to pull up higher, eventually high enough to reach your navel, which is exactly as high as you're gonna need to pull when doing the pullover to be able to go all the way over the bar. Once you can do at least 5 reps comfortably and consecutively, and at least 1 or 2 of those reps can reach your navel, you're ready to move on. Progression number 6, we have upside down deadlift. Make sure you have really gotten used to those toes to bars. This is where we're gonna start. Push through your hips, and then come back down. Keep your legs connected to the bar. Push through the hips, hold. This progression is gonna build lower back and core enough to push your body into an inverted position, which is very important not only for the pullover, but other skills as well, like the front lever and back lever. It's very similar to doing a deadlift, except of course you're from a hanging position. So just imagine yourself doing a deadlift inverted. From the top of a toes to bar, you're gonna lean back, retract your scapulas, and push your hips through as you maintain contact with your legs and body on the pull-up bar. Push all the way, just as if you were to push your hips forward and through doing a deadlift until you reach a complete inverted hanging position. Make sure as you're pushing through that, again, your legs are completely locked out, your arms are locked out, and your toes are pointed with your feet tight together. Once your hips have pushed all the way through and you actually came to a straight line inverted, you can then come back down, maintaining contact constantly with your legs on the pull-up bar, and descend nice and controlled all the way down until your ankles reach the pull-up bar again. Once you get very used to this, you can go ahead and rep that out. Once you can do 7 to 10 upside down deadlifts consecutively and comfortably in a row, you're ready to move on to the final progression. Last progression, we trained all the previous progressions to make it this far. Inverted row pull-ups. If you could even do a couple of these, you're ready for your pullover. Start from this position, pull up all the way to your belly button. These inverted row pull-ups are gonna close the gap from being able to bring our legs up and pull up to actually pulling over the bar. So this time we're gonna maintain the top of a toes to bar position, except your legs don't have to touch the bar this time, but your body does need to be flat and horizontal, which you would have acquired the strength and technique to do so from the previous progressions. And from this position, you're gonna pull your body straight up and try to reach your navel. At the beginning, of course, you can always go for partials, and eventually you'll be able to get stronger and pull higher. Try to maintain this horizontal position and try not to let your body droop down.
A quick tip for your inverted pull-ups, these are pretty difficult, so only doing 4 to 5 is completely okay, as long as you can do at least 1 up to your waistline. This is actually a requirement to be able to do the pullover. You have to be able to pull all the way up to your belly button to be able to get the majority of your lower half over the bar and turn right side up. If you don't pull high enough, you'll never be able to make that transition and you'll never be able to get over the bar. You need the majority of your body weight to go over the bar to be able to turn right side up. For example, if you're on the top of the bar and you lean too much far over, your body's gonna automatically flip over. Well, it's the same thing. If you put too much body weight of your lower body onto one side, your body's gonna automatically roll right side up.
If you can do at least 4 to 6 with perfect form, and at least 1 or 2 of those reps can reach your navel, you definitely have the strength to be able to do the pullover. And I think it's actually time to go for it. We've come a long way from the first progression doing Elit kicks. Finally, you should have the strength and the technique to be able to do some pullovers. Make sure to use all the techniques that you learned from the previous progressions. Toes to bar, hips up as you pull. Make sure your feet are on the other side. Come all the way up, right back down, all over again. Feet up, push your hips like an upside down deadlift, row like an inverted pull-up,
make sure you go all the way up to your navel. That's why it's so important to pull high enough.
Now, as we perform the pullover for the first time, just imagine you're doing all the progressions that we learned step by step. Imagine you're starting off doing a high leg raise pull-up mixed with an upside down deadlift to make sure that you bring your hips high enough so that as you pull up, you'll be able to reach your navel line. You also want to envision your inverted row pull-ups, as you're gonna need to be able to row as you're reaching the top. And as you're going through these movements, it's so important that you maintain your core tight and your legs super tight together, locked out with your toes pointed. You don't wanna have your legs all over the place. And you wanna have your pulling nice and even, not pulling with more than one side than the other. And as your legs start to go up into the air, you want them to slightly start leaning onto the opposing side of the pull-up bar so that you can still pull up, but your body weight will gradually start to transition to the other side of the bar. And by the time you've pulled up as high as you can, the majority of your body weight and your body is now on the opposing side of the bar, and your body weight comes down, which brings you right side up. Just be sure to maintain a tight grip onto that bar as you turn right side up due to gravity, and then finish it off by pressing into the top of a straight bar dip position. And there you have your first pullover. Then you can descend nice and controlled all the way back down to starting position. That's your first pullover. You want to do the same thing every time to do multiple reps. Another great tip, try to control the descension back to starting position as much as you can. This is actually a requirement to master your muscle up as well. It can be referred to as a negative muscle up, and this exercise can single-handedly develop insane upper body strength. So if you start emphasizing on this now, you're gonna be way ahead of the game, and the rest of the calisthenics skills are gonna come so much easier, especially because you learn these 3 skills first at the beginning of your calisthenics journey.
Thanks so much for watching. Congrats on making it to the end. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something, definitely smash that like button and subscribe with bell notifications on so that you never miss out on a video. I post every single week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. USA Eastern Time. And don't forget to get full access to all my personal workouts just like this, getting you in the best shape of your life. All you have to do is download the Heria Pro app in the App Store or Google Play Store. And if you'd like to learn the fundamentals to calisthenics, starting from the very beginning, how to unlock your first pull-up, push-up, dip, just download the Thenix app in the App Store or Google Play Store. And if you want me to make this into a complete series so you can follow along to it every week, learning the proper skills in order from the beginning, let me know in the comments. So I'll see you over on the Heria Pro app and the Thenix app. But in the meantime, check out this other video that's gonna have you in the best shape of your life, and I will see you next week. Mad love, peace out, baby.